Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to figure out if companies are really as good as they say they are. And boy, do we have a treat for you today, because American Tower Corporation, also known as AMT, is making some moves, and we're going to break it all down for you. We're diving deep into a recent filing from American Tower Corporation, which is a major player in the global digital infrastructure space. Think cell towers, everything that makes your phone signal work, basically. Today we're looking at an 8K filing, which is like a special report that companies file when something big happens. For American Tower, it looks like they've added a new member to their board of directors, a seasoned veteran named Eugene F. Riley. Now this might sound like just another corporate announcement, but in the world of investing and business, these changes, especially at the board level, can signal important shifts in strategy or a renewed focus on certain areas. So let's decode what this really means for American Tower. The filing tells us that on August 22nd of 2025, the company's board of directors welcomed Eugene F. Riley. He's not just a typical board member, he's also been placed on the compensation committee. That committee is usually in charge of deciding how executives are paid, so his presence there is noteworthy. Mr. Riley is set to serve until the next annual meeting of shareholders in 2026, unless a successor is chosen before then. Who is this Gene Riley fellow? Well, his resume is pretty impressive. He most recently was the vice chairman at Prologis Inc., a huge name in the industrial real estate world. Before that, he was an advisor there until April of 2024. He joined Prologis back when it was called AMB Property Corporation in 2003, and he held some pretty big titles. From 2019 to 2023, he was the chief investment officer, which basically means he was in charge of where the company invested its money. And from 2011 to 2019, he ran their entire operation in the Americas, covering the US, Canada, and Latin America. He's got a massive 40 years of experience in real estate, not just managing, but also investing and operating. He was even a founding partner and on the investment committee and board of directors for Cabot Properties, a private equity firm focused on industrial real estate. He's also been involved with industry groups like NALP, so this isn't just a token appointment, this is someone with a deep understanding of large-scale real estate and investment. Now, the finding also touches on compensation. Mr. Riley will receive the usual pay that American Tower gives to its directors who aren't full-time employees. This usually involves stock options or grants and a cash retainer. It's standard practice to have compensation for board members as their expertise is valuable. The company also mentioned that a press release about this appointment is being filed with the report. This is common for significant announcements, and it's usually where you'll find the official phrasing and perhaps a quote or two from the company. Now, while this appointment is significant, American Tower is primarily known for its enormous portfolio of cell towers and related infrastructure. To really understand the company, we need to look at its financial health and how it's performing in the market. This 8K filing itself doesn't contain detailed financial statements like a 10Q or 10K does, but it does list securities registered. This list shows us exactly what kinds of debt and equity the company has out there. We see their common stock traded under the ticker AMT on the New York Stock Exchange. But what's really interesting is the extensive list of senior notes. These are basically different types of loans the company has taken out with various maturity dates and interest rates. For example, they have notes due in 2026 with a 1.950% interest rate, and notes due in 27 with a not so small number of notes like 0.450% and 0.400% and even 4.125%. Then we see notes due in 28 with a 0.58 with a 0.500% rate and so on through. 2003 structure highlights how American Tower finances its massive operations and growth. Building and acquiring cell towers is capital intensive, and that means taking on debt is a major part of their business model. The fact that they have so many different note issuances with varying maturities and interest rates suggests a strategy of diversifying their debt and managing their cost of capital. For example, having some very low interest notes like the 0.450% in 2027 is incredibly efficient financing. However, they also have notes like the 4.12% due in 2027. Or 4.10% due in 2027, or 4.10% due in 2027, or 4.125% also due in 2027, or 4.10% due in 2027, or 4.17% due in 2037, incredibly efficient, and in 2027, or 4.10% due in 2034. This mix is typical for a large corporation that needs to raise significant capital over time. investors would want to look at the total debt load and compare it to the company's earnings and cash flow to see if they can comfortably manage these obligations. From a Warren Buffett perspective, one would want to understand the stability of their underlying business, which is driven by the demand for mobile data and the contracts they have with wireless carriers. Since that demand is generally growing, the revenue streams backing this debt are likely quite stable. The key then becomes how much of that revenue is eaten up by interest payments and how much is left over to reinvest or return to shareholders. Now, while this filing doesn't give us the numbers directly, the presence of Mr. Riley, who has a deep investment and operational background, could signal a strategic review of their capital structure or future investment opportunities. His experience as a chief investment officer suggests he'll be looking closely at how the company is deploying its capital. What does this mean for American Tower's direction? Adding a seasoned executive with a strong financial and operational background to the board is generally a positive on good governance and bringing in expertise that can guide its growth and financial management. His role on the compensation committee also means he'll have a say in how the company incentivizes its top executives, which can influence the company's performance as well. A notable risk for American Tower, as with any company heavily involved in infrastructure and debt financing, is interest rate sensitivity. If interest rates were to rise significantly, the cost of refinancing their existing debt or taking on new debt could increase, impacting profitability. However, their mix of debt with some very low interest rates issued prior to recent rate hikes could provide a cushion. In terms of opportunities, this appointment could lead to a more aggressive or refined approach to mergers, acquisitions, or strategic partnerships. Mr. Riley's background in real estate investment and management is very relevant to American Tower's business of acquiring, managing, and expanding its tower portfolio. So to wrap up, American Tower has brought onto its board a very experienced individual who has a proven track record in large-scale investment and operations. This is a move that suggests a continued focus on strategic growth and sound financial management. While this specific filing is about a board change, it's a reminder that the company operates with a significant amount of debt to fuel its massive infrastructure projects. Investors should continue to monitor their financial reports for detailed insights into how well they are managing this debt and generating returns for shareholders. What's your take on this board appointment and what it might mean for American Tower? Do you see it as a sign of more aggressive expansion or a focus on financial prudence? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Corporate Deco for more in-depth analysis of company filings. Also, make sure to join our Discord community for more discussions and insights. It's linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.